As you can probably hear, it's raining quite heavily outside today. So, bad news is all of my son's soccer games for today got canceled. Good news is, gives me some shop time. So as you can see, today is sanding day. I'm working on sanding the inside of the kayak. I thought I'd talk a little bit about some of the tools I'm using. You can see I have some of these sanding blocks. I believe Duro Gold makes these. This one's working really well for the curved part of the boat. I started off trying to use just some cut up pool noodle. It worked okay. The problem I have is it's a little too squishy. So as I was sanding, holding the sandpaper and trying to sand along the edge, I noticed it was giving a little too much. So I'm not using that anymore. I'm also using some of these scrapers. This one's a little bit flatter, that one has more of a curve to it. The scrapers work really well for getting the hot glue off and doing some initial shaping of the curved parts of the boat. And then I'm following up the shapers with an angled sander, or I don't know, grinder. What do they call these things? Die grinder. I usually use it for metalworking, but I picked up one of these little 3-inch adapters for the sandpaper, and this works really, really well for doing my initial sanding after the scraper and coming in and helping to smooth out the edges. I did have one of these I was trying to use for kind of coming this way at it to scrape where the wood didn't line up right. It worked okay, but I kind of stopped using it in favor of this scraper instead. The problem I have with this scraper is not all of my boards have the grain going in the same direction. So as you're scraping this way, one of the boards might be scraping really smooth, but it might be tearing out the other two, which isn't horrible. Like I said, I'm going back in and I can smooth it out with this, and then I can hit it with the sanding blocks to make it nice and smooth. Right now I'm still using 60 grit for the initial sanding. Once I'm done doing both sides of the boat with 60 grit, I'll slap some 80 grit onto the 2 sanding blocks and do the entire boat again. The bow and the stern of the boat are underneath the deck, so I'm not real particular about how smooth those parts are. You'll never see it. But this center section in here I'm trying to make nice and smooth and look really good. Not quite sure what I'm going to do about that seam down there. I have some other sanding blocks I'll try to make sure that's nice and smooth. Up here, when I was sanding the outside, it got really, really thin on me. So I came in and glued 2 strips to just add a little meat here at the bow where the deck and the hull are going to come together. And then I'll sand it fairly smooth up through here. But that's what I'm working on today, is lots and lots of sanding. I'm hoping to get the inside of the deck, or inside of the hull, sanded by the end of today. So some point this week I can try to go ahead and fiberglass the inside of the hull. And then I'll move the hull out the way and bring the deck over, flip it upside down, and start working on it as well. Right now the deck's just kind of sitting here taking up space. I got my little 3D printer going over here. I'm working on one of these parts that Nick Shada designed. It's up on printables. Right now I'm printing it out of PETG, just to kind of get an idea of how big it is and what it looks like. And then also because I already had PETG mounted in the printer. So I'm going to print this, take a look at it, play with it. If it looks like it's going to work for me, excuse me. I did pick up some ASA. I'm thinking this dark purple might actually match the deck of the boat pretty good, or I'm hoping it does. So if this PETG one comes out, I'll print some of them out of this purple ASA. I got the black ASA. Most of my ASA printing hasn't been really successful just yet. So I got the black so I can try to tune the ASA a little bit better. And then I'll give it a go with the purple for my final parts. This is a really old G-Tech printer that I've had for many years now. And what I like about it, and the reason why I'm still using it, is it's all metal. So there's this plastic part's the only plastic on the entire printer. And when you're printing hotter stuff like ASA and PETG, you don't have to worry about any of the parts of the printer getting soft and causing issues. My newer printer is this one over here. You might have seen it if you looked at other parts of the channel. The reason why I'm not printing these parts on this one is the core of this one is currently printed out of PLA. And anytime I've tried to print ASA on this printer so far, this core has gotten soft and the belts have pulled out of the core. They just let loose. So that's part of the reason why I haven't had much success with ASA. What I do plan on doing is printing a new core for that machine, or this machine, out of PETG. And that should allow it to print out of ASA a little bit better. This machine recently got some upgrades, quite a few upgrades actually. I got one of the big Tree Tech boards out for it. It's their Manta 8P. I'm kind of using this printer as a test bed for Clipper. And then after I get a little bit more successful running Clipper on this one, I'm thinking I'm going to move Clipper over to the big printer as well. Back here I have a big 24 volt power supply. The heat bed is only 12 volt. So I have a 24 to 12 volt automotive DC converter back here. This is a 20 amp and it's feeding the print bed, which never goes above 10 amps. So there's lots of overhead. I have a big fan on it. No issues with overheating or anything like that. Earlier today I milled this 1/4 inch peat bed for this printer. I was originally running this new PEI sheet directly on the heater without any support, and what I noticed was the center of the bed, the weight of the PEI sheet actually caused it to sag in the middle of the print bed, which was kind of fascinating in a horrific way. So I had a extra piece of 1/4" aluminum from when I did the bigger printer. So this morning I took it over to the mill and used my wood bandsaw to cut it down to this size, and then used the mill to clean up the edges and mill a relief down the middle of it for the thermistor and the heater, so that there's a little channel for the thermistor wires to run through. But this little printer's doing pretty good for as old as it is. I guess this is version number 3 of this poor little thing. The original printer, I think I kept it all original for maybe 9 months, 10 months, and quite quickly started upgrading it. But it works pretty good now. It's fairly reliable, which is why I haven't really just gotten rid of it. But again, today is lots and lots of sanding. Thanks for watching.